Welcome to Leo Wellness Podcast.
I'm Zay.
And I'm Eric, and today we're going deep on Kaempferol.
Yeah.
You probably already know antioxidants are good for you, right?
Right here.
Kaempferol is one of the potent antioxidants out there, but it's kind of hiding in plain sight in a lot of foods we eat every day.
Yeah, what's really interesting about Kaempferol is that it's not some exotic compound you only find in rare berries, It's in everyday foods like spinach, kale, broccoli, grapes, even apple skins.
Exactly. So you're probably already getting a dose of it without even realizing it. But here's where it gets really interesting. Studies are suggesting that Kaempferol could have a big impact on a whole bunch of health issues.
Yeah, like one study that was published in the journal Cancer Letters found that Kaempferol was able to actually inhibit the growth of breast cancer cells by inducing apoptosis.
Apoptosis.
Yeah, basically it's programmed cell death. It's a process where your body gets rid of damaged or abnormal cells, and Kaempferol seems to be able to trigger this in cancer cells.
Oh, wow. So it's like a cellular cleanup crew that
Yeah.
just targets those bad cells. It's amazing. What about other benefits, though? I've heard it might be good for heart health and even brain protection.
You're right. There's more and more evidence that Kaempferol could help with cardiovascular health. Researchers think it can help lower blood pressure and improve blood flow.
Which makes sense when you think about its antioxidant properties, because oxidative stress is one of the main contributors to heart disease.
Right. It's kind of like when metal rests from being exposed to oxygen. Our cells can rest too when they're exposed to these damaging molecules called free radicals.
And what do antioxidants do?
Antioxidants, like Kaempferol, they come in and neutralize those free radicals, protecting our cells from damage.
Okay, I'm following you. So then for brain health, how does it work?
Well, studies have shown that Kaempferol might protect our brain cells from damage caused by things like oxidative stress and inflammation, which are big factors in neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's.
So this one compound could help with cancer, our hearts, our brains. It's pretty incredible. Is there a catch? Are there any downsides or risks with Kaempferol?
That's a great question. While Kaempferol is generally considered safe when it comes from food, there's still a lot we don't know about its long-term effects, especially in supplement form.
So, like anything else, moderation and a balanced approach are key.
Exactly. More research is definitely needed to figure out the best dosages and how it interacts with other medications.
I'm curious, how does Kaempferol actually work at like a molecular level? What's the science behind all these benefits?
It gets pretty complex, but one of the key ways it works is by modulating signaling pathways in our cells. Think of these pathways like communication networks that control how our cells function. Kaempferol can influence these networks in a way that basically promotes cell health and protects against disease.
So it's not just fighting those free radicals, it's also like fine-tuning how our cells work. I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. It's like Kaempferol is a conductor leading this whole orchestra of cellular processes to keep our bodies in tune.
Uh-huh. I like that analogy. It's a fascinating area of research, and scientists are still figuring out all the ways Kaempferol interacts with our bodies.
Okay, so if it's in so many foods, why isn't everyone talking about Kaempferol? Why aren't doctors prescribing it?
Well, you have to remember, nutrition science is really complex and always changing. While there's promising evidence for Kaempferol's benefits, more research is needed to really confirm how effective it is and to figure out safe dosages.
It's like we have a few pieces of a puzzle, but we need more to see the whole picture.
Right. We need large-scale studies to see if what we're seeing in the lab actually translates to real benefits for people.
So for now, it's about being cautiously optimistic. But it's still pretty exciting knowing that such a powerful compound is already in so many of the foods we eat. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It opens up a lot of possibilities for how we think about health and wellness. It suggests we might already have these powerful tools for preventing and maybe even treating disease right there in front of us.
Speaking of those tools, how can our listeners incorporate more Kaempferol into their lives? We know it's in spinach and kale, but what are some easy ways to get more of it?
One simple thing is to just make leafy greens a regular part of your meals. Like instead of just a side salad, try adding spinach to your smoothies or omelets or pasta dishes.
Sneak those greens in.
Exactly. And don't forget about berries. They're another great source of Kaempferol. Having a handful of blueberries, raspberries, or strawberries with your breakfast or even as a snack is a tasty way to get those antioxidants.
Those are good tips. But what if you're not the biggest fan of kale or spinach? Are there other options?
Definitely. Remember we mentioned apple skins? So don't peel your apples, just wash them well and enjoy those extra nutrients from the skin.
Such an easy thing to do. It makes you wonder what other healthy things we're missing out on.
Right. There are so many beneficial compounds waiting to be discovered, and a lot of them are probably already in our food.
That's kind of inspiring. It makes you want to explore all the different foods and nutrients nature has to offer.
Totally. Food isn't just about eating. It's about exploring new ways to nourish your body and your mind.
I love that. Okay, so we talked a lot about Kaempferol today. We've learned about the benefits, the science behind it, and how to get more of it. But before we move on, I have a question for you.
Okay, shoot.
If this compound is so readily available in our diets, how could it change how we think about health and wellness in the future?
That's a really interesting question, and one that I think we should explore further. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to the Deep Dive on the Leo Wellness Podcast. Before the break, we were talking about how Kaempferol could really change how we think about health and wellness, and it's a pretty powerful idea.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder if we've been kind of missing out on the healing power of nature this whole time. We have this compound that's already in our food, and it might be able to fight cancer, protect our hearts and brains, and maybe even help with infections.
Exactly. We get so caught up looking for these complicated and expensive solutions when nature might already have the answers.
It's like we can't see the forest for the trees.
Yeah, exactly. We're bombarded with all these ads for supplements and medications, but we forget that the most powerful medicine might be right there in our kitchens.
So how can we actually get more Kaempferol into our lives? We've talked about greens, berries, apple skins. What else is there?
Oh, there are a few more things. Green tea is a fantastic source of Kaempferol. Some studies even suggest that drinking green tea regularly could lower your risk for certain cancers and heart disease.
Wow, so just having a cup of green tea could be doing way more than just helping you relax.
Totally. And we can't forget about beans. Black beans, kidney beans, soybeans. They're all good sources of Kaempferol, so adding them to your meals can really boost your intake.
Plus, beans have protein and fiber too, so a triple win. What about supplements, though? Are those an option for getting more Kaempferol?
They can be, but like I said before, it's super important to talk to your doctor before starting any new supplements. They can help you figure out the right dose and make sure it won't interact with any medications you're taking.
Good point. It's always better to be safe than sorry.
Right. And even though supplements can be helpful, I always recommend trying to get your nutrients from whole foods whenever you can.
I agree. There's just something about eating real whole foods that feels good.
It's not just about the nutrients, it's the whole package. Whole foods have this complex mix of vitamins, minerals, fiber, all sorts of good stuff that work together to keep us healthy.
It's like comparing a vitamin pill to a home-cooked meal. The meal just nourishes you on a deeper level.
Exactly. It's about seeing food as medicine.
That makes me wonder, could Kaempferol be used to develop new treatments for diseases?
That's something scientists are looking into right now. They're researching how Kaempferol and other flavonoids could be used in different therapies. For example, some studies show that Kaempferol might help reduce inflammation and pain in people with arthritis.
So it could help with both preventing and treating diseases.
Exactly. And there's research being done on using it for other things like diabetes and even some types of cancer.
That's pretty amazing. If we can use compounds like Kaempferol to create new treatments, it could change healthcare as we know it.
It would be a huge shift. We'd be moving away from just treating symptoms and focusing more on preventing disease and promoting overall well-being.
It's about empowering people to take control of their health.
Exactly. And Kaempferol might be one of the keys to doing that.
Well, it sounds like we've discovered a goldmine of information about this amazing compound. Kaempferol is way more than just an antioxidant. It could be a game changer for health and wellness.
And the best part is it's already in so many of the foods we eat. We can start getting the benefits of this powerful compound just by making small changes to our diet.
It's a reminder that nature is full of healing power. We just have to be open to it.
I agree. And with that, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of Kaempferol.
Okay, we've learned about the science, the benefits, how to get more of it. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought.
As we keep learning more about Kaempferol and other natural compounds, it makes you wonder what other incredible discoveries are out there waiting for us in the world of nutrition.
That's a great question, and one that I encourage everyone to think about. Remember to stay curious, keep exploring, and never stop learning.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Kaempferol on the Leo Wellness Podcast.
We'll be back soon with more fascinating topics. Until then, stay healthy and keep those minds curious.
Don't forget to check out our show notes for more information on Kaempferol and the research we talked about.
We're always here to help you navigate the world of health and wellness. So until next time, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Leo Wellness Podcast.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive on the Leo Wellness Podcast. I'm still thinking about all this stuff we talked about with Kaempferol. It's really amazing how something so simple can do so much for our health.
I know, right? And the research is still going on. There was this new study I saw recently that I think you'll find pretty
Oh,
interesting.
yeah. What's that?
Well, they were looking at how Kaempferol affects skin health, specifically if it can protect our skin from the sun's UV rays.
Huh. I always hear about how antioxidants are good for your skin, but I never thought about Kaempferol.
Well, it turns out Kaempferol can actually protect your skin from the sun. In this study, they put a cream with Kaempferol in it on some mice and then exposed them to UV radiation.
Okay. And what happened?
The mice that got the Kaempferol cream had way less skin damage than the mice that didn't get it. It seems like Kaempferol was able to stop the free radicals from the UV rays from damaging their skin cells.
So is it like a natural sunscreen then?
I mean, it's not that simple, but you're getting the idea. Of course, we need to do more research on humans, but it's definitely exciting.
It really makes you wonder what other amazing things Kaempferol can do.
Yeah.
We've already talked about how it could help with cancer, heart health, brain health infections, and now maybe even sun protection. It just keeps getting better.
It really shows you how powerful nature can be. We've only just scratched the surface of what plant compounds like this can do for us.
That brings us back to that question we talked about before. How could Kaempferol and other compounds like it change the future of health and wellness?
I think we're moving towards a whole new way of thinking about healthcare. Instead of just focusing on treating diseases after we get them, we're starting to focus more on preventing them and just feeling good overall.
And things like Kaempferol could be a big part of that.
Definitely. Imagine a future where we can tailor our diets to exactly what our bodies need, using food as medicine to prevent and even treat diseases.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it might not be that far off. We already have all these natural compounds with amazing healing properties. We just have to figure out how to use them.
Exactly. And that's where education comes in. The more we learn about things like Kaempferol, the better choices we can make for our health.
I like that. So to wrap up our deep dive into Kaempferol, I just want to say that I hope you all learned something new today and that you have a new appreciation for the power of nature to heal and protect us.
It's been great talking about this with you.
And a big thank you to all our listeners for joining us on the Leo Wellness Podcast.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive.
Remember, the more you know about your health, the better you can take care of yourself.
And don't forget to check out our show notes for more information on Kaempferol and the studies we mentioned.
We're always here to help you on your health and wellness journey. So until next time, take care.
Thanks for listening to the Leo Wellness Podcast.